But before we can do the walls, it's important to get the ceiling straight. Now, I mean, one of the reasons you want a nice straight ceiling is that typically when you do a shower, you do your tiling, and if you don't have a flat and level ceiling, you find when you get up to the top, up to here, you could end up with some strange cut tiles, and it will show that the ceiling's not flat, and you want to try and avoid that. Obviously, a good competent tiler could take out any, if you like, unevenness, if that's the right word, can take out any unevenness in the ceiling by a few millimetres, perhaps even 10, 15, 20 millimetres, by adjusting his tiles nearer the bottom. So by the time he gets to the top, he's actually lost any profile difference between the ceiling and the top of the tiles. But mostly it's probably better just to have a flat ceiling, and we're starting at the beginning, so that's exactly what we've done here. But to show you how far this ceiling has gone out, I'm going to show you. I'll take this corner up here, just here. Now this here is the lowest point in the ceiling. Whenever you batten out a ceiling to make it flat again, you always start by fixing your datum or your first batten to the lowest point, and it's here. As you can see, if I just follow the camera through there and we go to the other side of that batten, right over there, you can see that's approximately 1¼ inches, 25-30 millimeters difference, and that's over a distance of about 1.8 meters. So it's quite a drop. And if I spin around here and show you the far corner directly opposite, I don't know if you can see that, but you're looking at around 50-55 millimeters, just over 2 inches a drop to that point there. And over here we've got around about 40 millimeters a difference. So you can see how far this ceiling is out. Now, it's, many people would probably conclude that this is subsidence or settlement. Well, if you look here, these battens, now these are all level with each other, and you can see that in relation to the mortar line just here, the original mortar line when this property was built, it shows there's no movement in the wall over there. Now, it's not to say there isn't a settlement, because there probably is. I think all houses or builds settle over a period of time. But whether there's subsidence, I don't think so. I actually think what they've got here is really, well, what they used here in the very beginning was really shoddy timbers, and possibly put the timbers up, left them to the elements, left them open to the elements, and they got saturated, and then those timbers warped and bent and twisted, and this is the result. Now, evidence of that, I'll show you in a photo. I'll put it into this video. Evidence of that is when I did the flooring. Now, I've got a photograph of the flooring which shows a ridiculous amount of unevenness in the floor, and it's exactly the same things where the flooring timbers were out as well. And I don't know if you can see this. Just if I take you to this corner, or just over to this wall here, you can see how much the flooring has been chopped out. Now, we can get away with it on this because these timbers are big enough to withstand the weight on top. But look at that. I had to take that out to make the floor level as well. So this is the sort of problem you get with these houses. I mean, you get them with really old houses, but it seems very typical with this type of house, which was built in, as I say, 1969, 1970. So we've had to level out the ceiling. And you do this by putting these battens up, and to which you will fix plasterboard. Now, when we do this type of battening, we call it counter battening. And the reason we call it counter battening is because we've got the original ceiling joists coming this way and this way, and then the counter battens go across there. It's as simple as that. And what you tend to do is you set your battens out at what we call set them out at centres, and we typically do that at 400 millimeters. So this is the start point, if you like, and the centre of that to the centre of that batten is 400 millimeters. And again, another 400 millimeters there, and then another 400 millimeters there, which makes that a total of 1200 millimeters, which is actually the width of a standard plasterboard here in the UK and in Europe. Plasterboards tend to come in 2.4 meters by 1.2 meters. So by setting out your battens precisely at 400 centres, that's the centre of that batten to the centre of that batten to the centre of that batten, means that you'll get equal support across that plasterboard when you screw it up against the battens. And this is what we have to do to make the ceiling flat. Now it's too low, originally the ceiling was too low to put in what we call a suspended ceiling, so this is pretty much the only option. And even if you took away the old ceiling, you still got to contend with the uneven ceiling joists. So this is pretty much the best option. Not ideal, but it works, and it's the way we tend to do it. So again, you can see how far out that is. I mean, it's pretty significant, but it's nice and level now. And of course, we haven't done the electrics yet. I mean, they're all dead, and they've all been tested as dead. They're not live, these things. But you do your battening first, and then you do your electrics, because that enables you to put your lights in and what have you, and your switches in between the battens without any fear of them conflicting with the battens should you do the battening after you put in your electrical fittings. So always put your electrical fittings in after you've done the battening. And also, when you've got this much space between the original ceiling and the batten, it's pretty much an easy job to run your cables in between these to pick up. So you know, it is convenient. So this is what we've got. We've got to now run some wall battens down here. What we know certainly is that this wall is out, but before you do the wall, you want to do your ceilings, and that's precisely what we've done.